You know that feeling, right? You meet someone and instantly you just can't stand them. It's not like a big rivalry or anything, just this instant dislike. But what if I told you that feeling has almost nothing to do with them? Today, we're going to explore the psychology of hate to uncover what it's secretly trying to tell you about you.
Maybe it's that new person at work or someone at the gym. You can't really explain why, but just something about them gets under your skin. It happens to all of us, but we almost never stop to ask ourselves, what does that feeling actually mean?
Because here's the thing, that intense dislike you're feeling, it's not just random noise. It's actually a spotlight pointing directly at a hidden part of your own inner world. It's a really powerful tool for self-discovery. It's just disguised as an everyday annoyance.
To really get this, let's dig into a real story. We're going to break down the case of a woman named Kaiola and her super intense and on the surface, totally irrational hatred for her new boss.
So here's the deal. Koala's new boss is kind of a classic micromanager, making other teams stay late, walking around, policing everyone's phone use. But, and this is the weird part, none of this actually affects Koala's job at all. And yet she absolutely despises the guy.
And when you ask her about it, this is what she says. First, she complains about his management style, which is fair enough. But then she throws in this comment about his education. Now that is a huge clue. It feels like she's just searching for reasons, any reason, to justify this massive feeling of hate.
And that brings us to the big mystery, right? Why is she feeling it so intensely? This isn't just mild annoyance. We're talking about a deep, powerful hatred for someone whose actions don't even impact her day-to-day. So what is really going on here?
Okay, to crack this case, we need to bring in some psychology. Let's look at the hidden triggers in our brains that cause such a powerful gut-level reaction to another person.
So psychologists basically say it boils down to three main things. First, there's simple self-protection. Our brain sees a potential threat. Second, a loss of security. Someone's behavior makes us feel like things are out of control. But it's that third one, projection, that is so often the most powerful and, well, the most hidden. And that's the one we're going to zero in on.
And this brings us to this brilliant concept from the psychologist Carl Jung, the shadow self. Just think of it like a backpack you carry around. You've stuffed all the parts of yourself that you don't like into it, all your fears, your insecurities, your shame. We all have one, we just pretend we don't.
And this shows the difference perfectly. Our persona is the nice, shiny mask we wear for the world. It's polite, capable, it's everything we want people to think we are. The shadow is the exact opposite. It's all the stuff we've rejected about ourselves. The real trouble starts when someone else comes along and starts acting out the very things we've hidden in our own shadow.
Okay, so now that we have this idea of the shadow self, let's go back to Kaiola. It's time to solve the mystery of why she hates her boss so much.
After talking it through, Koala had this huge breakthrough. The first thing she realized was a chillingly familiar pattern. The boss's controlling behavior wasn't just annoying, it was triggering a much, much older memory.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Her father used to lock her in his study for hours to lecture her. Her boss traps the other team in these late-night meetings. See the parallel? That feeling she was calling hatred for her boss wasn't really about him at all. It was the unresolved fear from her childhood, and she was projecting her father right onto him.
But wait, there's more. Remember that comment about his junior college diploma? Well, it turns out Kaiola was secretly deeply insecure about her own ordinary degree. Even though she got a master's later, it was still this hidden source of shame for her.
And there you have it, the puzzle solved. Her boss was the perfect storm. He represented the controlling authority she was afraid of, her father, and the academic insecurity she hated in herself. Her hatred wasn't about him, it was her own shadow self screaming for her attention.
And look, this isn't just some unique thing that happened to Koala. Let's take another quick example. Dabai. She couldn't stand her roommate, thought she was just a lazy, dependent show-off. But when she really looked at it, she realized her roommate was just a mirror of the parts of her own past she was deeply ashamed of. And that dependency she hated so much, it was reflecting her own terror of ever having to rely on anyone else. Once again, the hatred was a mirror.
So, if these people we can't stand are just reflecting our own hidden stuff, what do we do about it? How do we actually turn this really uncomfortable feeling into a tool for growth?
Well, it actually boils down to a pretty simple three-step process. First, you analyze the person and your reaction. Second, you dig a little deeper to find out what you really need emotionally. And third, you take action to meet that need and protect your own inner peace.
So for step 1, the next time you feel that dislike bubble up, just pause and try this. Fill in these blanks, like, he is constantly talking over me in meetings. This makes me feel invisible. Then take a breath and finish that last sentence honestly. The real reason I dislike him is because I'm secretly afraid my ideas aren't good enough.
And that leads you right into step 2, which is probably the most important question of all. The hatred is just the loud, annoying alarm bell. Your job is to figure out what fire it's trying to warn you about. What are you really afraid of? Being controlled? Being seen as incompetent? Being abandoned?
Once you identify that need, you can finally start to meet it. This is really an act of self-love. Maybe it means facing the fear head-on, or maybe it just means learning to accept the parts of yourself you've pushed away. It's about healing the original wound, not just getting mad at the latest person who happens to poke it. I absolutely love this way of looking at it from the philosopher Zhao Gupeng. He says, instead of being a victim of your feelings, become a scientist. See the person who triggers you as a specimen. Ask yourself, what can this person teach me about myself? When you do that, suddenly an unpleasant experience can actually become a source of wealth. So in the end, it turns out the people who trigger us the most aren't our enemies at all. They are our most unflattering, but maybe also our most honest, mirrors. They show us exactly which parts of ourselves we've tried to hide away, the parts that are just asking for a little bit of healing and acceptance.
So instead of trying to avoid these mirrors, what if we actually dared to look right into them? Think about it for yourself. What have your mirrors shown you? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if this helped you see things a little differently, make sure you subscribe for more insights into how we work. Thanks for digging into this with me.